the YouTube thing. We're going to do the talking about stuff thing. Welcome, everyone, to our Mastermind. It's John Lavenia here with you, sitting in for Shannon today. It is Thursday, the 23rd of September. And I am, let me go ahead and kill the sound on the YouTube thing because I hear myself talking. So got a few things coming up for those who are already booked for it. We're getting together in October for a little regional get together in Nevada, right? So that's going to be fun. If anybody here who's a member still wants in on that, you've got until tomorrow to let me know and I can get you in. Or we're actually going to go do a firearms course out there in the desert. It's going to be a blast, literally many blasts, literally many blasts. And then fun. What else? Does somebody have a comment about that? You don't like my jokes? I know it's not Fun Friday. I shouldn't tell jokes unless it's Friday. And what else do we got going on? Looks like we have nothing going on today here inside the Mastermind group, although we did have Books for Britain yesterday with Mandy Anderson, where they're covering Integrity is Everything by Me. So if you want their perspectives on whatever this guy wrote, you can go ahead, if you're a member here, of course, and you can check out the replays that are all inside your members site under the recorded section, which is massive. My goodness, what an archive. Unbelievable, the amount of stuff that has come through these airwaves via this platform. So really excited that we have amassed such a wealth of stuff. You know, a lot of times people go around and look for, you know, I need a new teacher or a new doctrine or a new religion or a new something that I don't already have because, you know, it's whatever I studied yesterday, which I didn't apply, by the way, but because it was yesterday, it's not valid today. BS. I'm here to tell you that I get so much traction and so much value and so much food for action with just things that were said thousands of years ago from various sources, right? It's not like there was the origin of truth occurred, you know, because this specific, you know, writing or this scripture came out or this specific, you know, way of saying it came out. It's just my ability to put it to use is the thing in question. So let's say that, you know, something was shared thousands of years ago with people who could hear and were willing to hear. And I'm just catching up. I'm a couple thousand years late to the party, but there is no new truth, right? There is the recognition. This is something I was just studying just while I was in the gym today. This is awesome stuff, guys. So buckle your seatbelts. Here's where I'm at with all this. When we talk about prosperity, we talk about manifesting results, success, the progressive realization of a worthy ideal, working with the law. We talk about all these kind of things, these timeless truths that have been said in many languages for millennia and in many different ways from many different teachers. It's not the law. The law doesn't work necessarily in just in my life by me being ignorant. It works to the degree that I'm not ignorant. It works in my life. In other words, I can work with the law. I can be causative. I can have an effect to the degree of my conscious awareness of the law. Because without having my hands on the steering wheel, yeah, the law still works with me or without me, but it, you know, I can run myself into a ditch. Didn't Earl Nightingale talk about this in The Strangest Secret? He said, and I'm paraphrasing a bit, although I have heard this recording at least 1,000 times, but he's talking about, he was driving through eastern Arizona and he saw one of those giant earth moving machines roaring down the road at about 30 miles an hour. And up on top, there was a little man perched at the wheel, right? Guiding and directing this tremendous machine to a worthy end. He said, now think about your mind. What if you were perched at the helm of this tremendous machine? Are you going to sit back and fold your arms and let it run itself into a ditch? Or are you going to keep your hands firmly on the wheel and direct it towards a worthy end? He also said, that was almost verbatim, by the way. Those of you who've heard that recording as many times as I have, you're thinking, yeah, I hear Earl, those exact words. But he also talked about how we value what we pay for. So a lot of people don't value the mind because it's standard equipment at birth. You paid nothing for that. Or did you? Great question. So what do we pay? What is the cost of ignorance? Ben Franklin said, if you think education is expensive, try ignorance. You pay, everybody pays. Everybody pays. So there's a price. There's a price for success, right? And that's the diligence, that is keeping your hands firmly on the wheel, that is deliberate thought and deed. There's also a price of success, which a lot of people pay, and they pay it again and again and again and again. It costs a lot to be broke. It costs a lot to be miserable. It costs a lot to not reach goals or to not have goals. I'm saying that from experience. I'm not pointing the finger, because I point one and 3 point back, right? So I am vastly and acutely aware of the price of failure. I'm not here to belabor it, like Wallace Waddle said in The Science of Getting Rich. If you've had poverty, don't talk about it, right? Let the dead bury the dead, right? As Jesus said. That's the past. That has nothing to do with who I am now. Now, meaning right now, I am the advancing man. I am the person about increase. I am moving lifeward. And all who come into contact with me are increased because of their association with me and my deliberate intent to increase myself and all who I touch. Now, that's something you can affirm for yourself. You can own that. I've been working on that for a long time, and it bears fruit, right? I mean, my stats are better than they were in the past, right? So that's good. We're not talking about having arrived. We're not talking about levitating or manifesting fish and loaves, although I suppose we could get there. I'm not there yet. Okay. But what we are talking about is being deliberate in our use of thought, keeping our hands firmly on the wheel and directing this tremendous power to a worthy end. So the question that comes up again and again and again and again with all the people that I talk to throughout a daily basis is, what do you want? What do you want? What is this worthy end? What is worthy of you? A lot of people get that reversed. They think, oh, I hope I'm worthy of that great goal. Ooh, I want to make $10,000 a month. I've never done that before. I don't know. Wrong conversation, right? There's trillions of dollars. They're printing it as we speak. Okay, not to go down that road too far, but just to let you know, there's money. Is anyone here listening to this right now in Bangladesh? No. Zimbabwe? Anyone? No. So you're in countries that, to whatever degree, still have, some degree of, free enterprise. There's like banks on the corner and stuff. There's money to be had, right? Well, there's an advantage. What did Napoleon Hill say it was in a chapter on organized planning, where he talks about the one thing that makes all of this success possible. You want to think and grow rich. You want to apply all these principles. What is one thing that makes all of this possible? Capital. Try doing any of this without capital. You want to have breakfast? What was the example he gave? Here's the standard breakfast that the typical family in New York City can purchase for 10 cents. This was some years ago when this was written. So you put your dime on the table, you get the eggs, you get the cereal, the tea, right? 10 cents. Inflation has occurred because of the other thing I was just mentioning, that they're printing trillions of dollars. So your money's worth less and less. But none of that would be possible. Let's add a couple zeros. So $10, let's say. So $10, which still sounds a little light. But let's say you wanted to have that experience. All right. So you'd have to, get on the boat and go to India or China to get the tea leaves, and you'd have to grow the sugar. And of course, you'd have to transport it somehow. So that would be a pretty long walk. And unless you were an excellent swimmer, you wouldn't be able to actually get over to, the other place where they grow the oranges. And of course, cereal would be, out of the question, because there's, manpower, which requires capital to process the grains and to manufacture, the cornflakes or whatever. So you lose. Without capital, you got no shot. I guess we could go back to and some people choose to do this, go back to living off the land, right? Tree bark and grass, I suppose you could sustain yourself. I don't know. You know who would know? Stuart would know, right? In fact, Stuart's been showing up in our book study group. Stuart, I don't know if you're on here now, but we love you, brother. But Stuart would know, right? Eat up some of that grass. No, not that grass, right? That guy can see stuff that I can't see because he's been like lurking in the weeds for a couple of decades with his llamas. The point is that we've got so much ability just with the resources that we don't even necessarily think about. So the law will work for me based on my conscious awareness of the workings of law and deliberately working with it. The law will work against me if I take my hands off the wheel and let it run itself into a ditch, but it works regardless. The ability to participate in a capitalistic system where we can voluntarily exchange value for value in the marketplace, that will benefit me only to the degree that I carp diem, right? That I seize the carp. You got to seize the carp. I remember being at an event where we were speaking with Doug Weed. Doug Weed is a well-known orator and historian. He wrote some books, and he was giving us a lecture on the idea of each of us in the room becoming successful. It was a small group. It was only maybe 150 people. Where was this? Fiji. This was in Nadi on Viti Levu, Fiji. And it was a high-end event. I think we paid $12,000 per ticket for this. And one of the things he talked about was how when he was growing up as a child. Have I told you this story before? I have. All right, then I won't tell it. Actually, I haven't told you, so I will tell you. I'll tell you again. So he was growing up. He's probably 70 years old now, and he and then as a schoolboy, they would have like an air raid drill where they would all go under the desks because the Soviets might be bombing, right? And so these were air raid drills. And then later in life, he's not a schoolboy anymore. He's a successful businessman. He's doing events around the world. He meets this other guy, an entrepreneur from the former Soviet Union, now known as Russia, okay, or again known as Russia. And they got to talking, and they're about the same age. And he said, this other guy, this Russian guy, he said, well, we did the same thing. We would, do the air raid drills under the desk because the Americans might be bombing. And he thought that was interesting. So here are these people who are just, having a business conversation or whatever, nice guy. Nobody hates each other or anything. And here they are hiding under desks because the other guy or whoever's in charge of the other, guy's country or whatever might be bombing or something. And so the Russian guy was so grateful to have whatever degree of political liberty and free enterprise. And he carped diem, right? He seized the carp. He's successful in business now because he's got the ability to be a success in business, land of opportunity, and et cetera, et cetera. And so the idea that Doug was sharing was that 80% of your success, whatever you say that you want, exists just with the ability of political liberty and free enterprise. That's 80% of it. The other 20% is what you do with it. So then the question is, and this was sort of his punchline, I even mentioned this in my first book, Integrity is Everything, which you can review in the archives. We've been through that book, and you're going through it now with Books for Britain. But the punchline to all this was, is it worse to have your face down in the mud with the boot of oppression on your neck, or to have your face down in the mud with no boot on your neck? Kind of a wake-up call for everybody. Holy crap. You mean there's no boot on my neck? You mean I can go ahead and flex my entrepreneurial muscles? I could do this and not sit around and bitch and gripe about circumstances, problems? Yeah, of course you got problems. They're different problems. They're not the problems that the guy in the Soviet Union had. Different problems. more workable problems, we could say. You still got some wiggle room here, right? And again, I'm not going to go down that road too much, but based on current events and all the crap that's going on, which is temporary. But I could tell you that what is the common denominator in all this? It is my willingness to show up deliberately, consciously, and with awareness and with diligence and do something to seize the carp. That's right. I got that from a movie called Out Cold. Any snowboarding fans here? There's a movie called Out Cold with a bunch of wacky guys. They're up in some imaginary town in Alaska doing like the ski resort thing. And they're going on all these capers and stuff. And there's this one character called Pigpen. And he doesn't bathe much and all this. But he was like, you got to carp diem, seize the carp. Right. That's his character is like a dumb guy. So I love that. Seize the carp. So who's seizing the carp around here? I'd like to tell you that I am. And I guess that's all by degree, right? So I'm seizing more carp than I was, a few carps ago. But have I fulfilled my potential or something? Have I taken for granted this tremendous machine where I'm perched at the wheel, letting it run itself into a ditch? Is that what I'm doing? I look at people like Glenn, and here's a guy who is in a completely different role than he was when I met him. He hosts television shows now. When I met Glenn, he did not host television shows. And who knows about tomorrow, right? Maybe that's a stepping stone for something else. Maybe he's like, the TV star of the universe. Maybe he's like, screw television. I'm going to do, I don't know. Okay. All I know is that he's reaching, he's doing something, not to mention the whole Star Trek. We're not going to mention the Star. Don't mention the Star Trek thing. Don't talk to me about Star Trek anymore. But I mean, that's palpable, right? I mean, you could see, in people, and that's just one example. Okay. When they find, this really lights me up, right? For Glenn, obviously. And he published the book. He's a published author, right? Here's the book. So that wasn't the case when I first met Glenn. Virginia is a published author with the greatest Italian cookie recipes in the world, right? And we're going to get her on a gun range in a couple of weeks, and we're going to be, doing the gun thing, right? Virginia. Yeah. Who I just found out is taller than me, by the way. So as are most people, by the way. Wait till you meet me, right? I'm not a little munchkin or anything, but yeah, 5'6.5". 5'6.5" in the mornings, and then goes down a little bit during the afternoon. What am I even talking about? What I'm talking about is I love you guys and I want you to win. And whether you're seeing this on YouTube, you're just Joe Public and you happen to cross this channel and whatever, please subscribe. You can always, grab a membership and participate in all the awesome stuff that we do behind the scenes here at jlsuccessmastermind.com. But the idea here is that there is, I think, quite enough people running themselves into a ditch. Don't be one of them. And that's a choice. By the way, it's not an easy choice because we've got to make that choice again and again. But the more we do that, the more habitually we do it. The less thinking and deliberation and considerations there are, the more habitual, spontaneous right action. Spontaneous right action. Man, I love that phrase. I just showed up and the thing all came together. Oh my goodness, right place, right time. We've all had that experience. Can we deliberately cause that? We can with our habits. What are they saying? That luck is the combination of preparedness and practice and opportunity. I don't know. We figure it out. But I keep showing up as the guy who gets the job done. I keep showing up as the person of increase, as the advancing man, and then opportunities also show up. And now I'm able to execute, exploit opportunities. Does that make me lucky? Just prepared. In fact, isn't September Preparedness Month? I hope everyone's prepared. Be prepared. Yeah. I'm not saying be paranoid. I'm just saying be prepared. Right. So interesting times we're in right now. Oh my goodness, Sonia's here. Oh my goodness, the birthday girl from last week. Hey, Sonia. In her new condo in Ottawa, which is awesome. And with that, by the way, that was deliberate, right? That wasn't just like condos from Ottawa just fall out of the sky onto Sonia or something.
Not
right?
previously, no.
Right. So she sees the car, right? That's it. She did it. And just talking about transformation, right? I mentioned Glenn, I mentioned Virginia, right? Here's Sonia. And look, Stefan, right? You're doing the grape thing, right? We got a lot of people here kicking ass in life. And thank goodness, because what's the alternative? Just mope around and wait for something to happen to you, fold your arms and let it run itself into a ditch. Go listen to that recording again. If you haven't listened to it in a while, Strangest Secret by Earl Nightingale. Great reminders in there. I think I'm on listening number 1,284. Stefan's got his hand up. Why don't we let Stefan breathe here a little bit? Hey, brother, what is going on with you?
Well, this week has been interesting. So I had mentioned that I just started my job at the vineyard and everything like that. And basically it was the first time in my life I've ever earned that much money. It was $25 an hour. And then I drove my car literally into a ditch and totaled it, and found out also that my insurance lapsed 2 days before because they never received the documents that I uploaded to them. So it's uninsured in an accident and probably uninsurable in the future. Plus it's going to cost a bunch of money. So I got to figure out a lot of, I'm trying to stay positive and to try not to, as you say, drive yourself into a ditch, ironically, because it seems like this happens almost every year, and it gets old after a while.
What happens almost every year?
My life completely unraveling and exploding because of some random thing like a car accident or something like that.
Okay.
So
well, you're still here to tell the tale. So,
that's what I'm saying. Staying
right.
as positive. And I'm just any advice on not getting discouraged by constant setbacks?
Yeah. So here's the thing. When we are very close to that next level, that next plateau, this one starts to come apart. And so what we must do is recognize, this is what I'm speaking for myself, and you can own this if you like. Okay. I must recognize, wow, the universe is throwing me some adversity here. I'm here to prove my mettle. Okay. I go into a state of disagreement with the circumstances. I disagree that those are total. And I mean, the car may be totaled. Okay. But this is
it's just very discouraging.
right. So this may have crumbled, but that means, where am I going? And so now I start looking at, you know what, here's the silver lining. Here's the opportunity. I'll give you one, Stefan. I had a very, very difficult situation that I was in that cost, well, it was a couple $1 million down the drain. How's that sound? Couple $1 million. A lot of people say the first million's the hardest. Bullshit. Okay. Pick yourself up after losing millions. Do that. All right. And I had to do that. And I did. I'm not going to go into too many details now, but I will tell you that that it was that will to survive, that will to keep going and to find opportunity and to do whatever I had to do to seize the carp, man. That's what I had to do. It was not comfortable. I got through it and I lived to tell a tale. I'm doing better than that now, right? In case that's not apparent. But the idea that we could pick ourselves up from losses, and I don't know if that helps you feel better or something, that, oh my goodness, John lost millions. Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
Stupid decisions, right? Now what? Will I make those decisions again? No, I get to learn. Well, happy days for me, right? But a lot of times when we look at, well, why didn't I know that before? Why could I make such a dumb mistake? And it's so easy to be critical of ourselves. So easy. Any moron could be critical of themselves, right? So what am I demonstrating if I'm just sitting here licking my wounds and being critical of myself? That I haven't learned, or that I don't acknowledge that I've learned? We've got to be able to acknowledge the learnings and then go on from there. I know circumstances can suck, but man, they are not permanent. I can guarantee you, just like we were just talking about with Glenn, not permanent. Everything's temporary. Everything is temporary. You in this body is temporary. All of it is temporary. This broadcast is temporary, right? The garbage truck that just went past my house, I don't know if you guys heard that. It's gone now. So we have to recognize we're dealing with a transient reality. And if that gives you a little bit of, if that lightens the load for you a little bit, then kind of sit on that. Be like, look, observe what is, get in present time, and know that present time keeps changing.
Yep.
This is kind of a heavy psychological topic here, but thank you for your candor, brother. And look, the past is not equal to the future. I can guarantee you that, because everything's temporary.
And that's,
So-
I mean, I feel optimistic in the sense that I know I'm not going to be stuck here. I just try to put one foot in front of the other and just take every step that I can. And one of the things that I definitely learned on it is that I need to relocate where I live, because I probably won't be able to drive. Not even because of the accident, but I don't feel safe driving, to be honest with you. So, so this may have been, a blessing in disguise, because you can only play Russian roulette so many times until you shoot yourself.
Mm.
So in that sense, it's good. Now I just got to figure out the logistics to go along with it. So,
Okay. Are you talking about like a physical disability?
yeah, narcolepsy.
Okay. Well, my goodness. Can you condemn yourself over a disability? That
No.
doesn't sound reasonable to me. But
Oh.
Okay. Got it.
But thank you for the advice. I appreciate it.
Thank you, man. And this is the beginning of even greater things. So, Stefan, ladies and gentlemen, my heart goes out to you, and we're going to be here for you every day. Glenn, please. Glenn, Starship Glenn, come in.
We're in there somewhere. Thank you, John. You made some really interesting points. Mentioned some really interesting things today, but I hadn't. It's really weird. I hadn't really given a lot of thought to, at least not today, to how different my life is now as compared to 1 year ago, 3 years ago. I think particularly, and it's something that you mentioned, Stefan, one particular phrase immediately took me back to where my life was 10 years ago, 10, 12 years ago. I was at the time quite literally a man without a country. Because of some, you said it, John, some stupid decisions on my part, and the confluence of some really strange circumstances, I found myself for 3.5 years living in a foreign country with no vehicle for most of that time, borrowing transportation, no reliable source of income, no work visa, as was required in that country, and no passport. So that I couldn't stay because I couldn't work, and I couldn't leave because my passport was dead. And even if I did come back, somehow find a way to get back to the U.S., the circumstances, let us say, would not have been kind to me upon my return. I ended up living. You ever seen some of those stories on CNN about, the terrible conditions in labor camps in some of these third world countries where people are forced to? Yeah, I was living in a labor camp for 6 months. Through the extraordinary kindness of friends, I wasn't in the most terrible of situations of suffering as I could have been. But I can tell you it was not any fun at all. And here I am today. How did I get from there to here? You said something yourself, Stefan. Here's how I got out of that situation. When I woke up in the morning, I swung my feet over the side of the bed, and my feet hit the floor, and I got up out of bed, and I started moving. And through the course of the day, I would keep moving. Had no frickin' clue what I was doing or where I was going or what was going to happen or what the outcome of anything would be. I just kept moving because I had to move. I had no choice. I had to move. And at the end of the day, I would go to bed. The next day, I'd get up, swing the feet over, hit the floor, and I'd get up and start moving again and keep moving. And the fact, in my case, the fact that I kept moving meant that I would, from time to time, come across circumstances and opportunities, and most importantly, people who would provide a chance, who would open a door, open a window for me, loan me a little money, set me up with some work here and there. And until the point where I was able to finally stand on my own 2 feet, get back my own situation to where I needed to be. And, the rest is, where we sit today. So you're already on the right track. And any of us who are struggling is already on the right track because you're still moving. So my best, and I've known many people like you, Stephen, and others, and who similar situation. And my best suggestion, my most sincere suggestion to all of them is just keep moving. Just keep moving, because you don't know what's around the next corner. For 3.5 years, I didn't know what was around the next corner. But I can tell you this: for me, what was around the next corner was usually better than what I'd left behind. So brother, just keep moving. Back to you, John.
Thank you, Glenn. Yeah. There was a silly movie. I'm into movies today for some reason. You guys ever seen this movie from the 1970s, mid-70s? It was called Convoy with Chris Christopherson. You guys ever see that movie?
Yes! That was some funny stuff.
It popped into my head last week. And I had an hour or so, like late at night. I was like, you know what? I wonder if that movie is on, replay somewhere. And I found it. I think it was on Amazon Prime or Hulu or something. And I watched Convoy, and it had Ernest Borgnine as Dirty Lyle, the cop, right? But there was a line in that movie where Chris Christopherson said, the purpose of a convoy is to keep moving. And here are all these truckers, right? Going across, Arizona and New Mexico and Texas. And obviously the story didn't make any sense because they're all loaded down with whatever their payload is, and they're not going anywhere. They're just driving. But so the story didn't make any sense. But the attitude of it, I thought, was interesting. It was rebellion. It was freedom, and but keep moving. That's the whole purpose of the convoy, right? I think if I was a trucker, the purpose would be to get paid to get the stuff to the place where it's supposed to go, not to just drive around. But anyway, why did that come up for me, Glenn? Just because you're talking about keep moving. And we're going to go to Allie next. But the bicycle example, which I got from, was it Weldon Long? Power of Consistency? I don't recall. there was an example of a bicycle. Like if you want balance in life, you got to move like a bicycle. Sonia knows about bicycles, right? There's bike paths all around her condo, right, with the river and everything. But the stopped bicycle doesn't balance, right? Speed is your friend, and we can get into gyroscopic force and physics and all that. But try sitting there on a still bicycle. You're not going to experience balance. Got to move. Allie, what thinks you, my friend?
Hi. Yeah, just some things that come to mind because I've been listening a lot to all sorts of different things, but Bob Proctor a lot. And the three things that he was suggesting when you hit upon something that is negative of, number one, it is what it is, just accept it. And I think other things that we've read have said so much about how we can say, oh, it's the end of our lives. We paint this picture of this disaster and blame ourselves, and rather than just looking at the fact, and everything else is fear of the future. It's not real. It's just us putting something onto it. It's just not real at all. The second one is harvest the good. So there's always, as you were saying, John, there's always, and I mean, Stefan, you were saying how you are finding the positive, finding the good, but that's so essential, isn't it? There is always something positive to come out of anything. And then forgive the rest, whether that be forgive yourself, forgive others who are in the situation, forgive the rest, let it go and move on. I just think that's, yeah, wise words.
Yeah, now to just remember them, right? So thank you, Allie. So good to see you, as always. And who else we got? We got Virginia with her hand up. Let's go to Virginia.
Hi. So somebody just put something in there about Bob Proctor. Was that what the link was that Glenn just did?
No, he linked you up to the IMDb page for the movie Convoy.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. I think Convoy
Much
came
more
out,
profound and enlightening than anything from Bob Proctor. So.
but not as relevant to long-term life. Okay, so I'm gonna jump out here and tell you you're all wrong. Every one of you are wrong.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so let me tell you, Stephen, don't listen to any of them, okay? I love Glenn's story. I love everything that everybody's actually saying. And so I'm only teasing when I say they're all wrong, but you can keep going. So if you are the girl who goes to the party and always attracts the loser in the room, you can keep going. But every time you go to a party, you're going to attract the loser in the room. And I know that a lot of women can relate to that. Okay. You are attracting this into your life. I went through the same thing for years. Thank goodness I don't have this anymore. But every fall, my husband and I, from September, I used to start to dread when the fall months came around, September till October 31st. It was like stuff, the negativity just was coming in. And one disaster or one life-changing thing after another seemed to always happen in the fall to us. And I really got to the point where I dreaded it. November 1st, from then on through the holidays, wonderful. But this negativity and bad things happening, if I would say, used to come in. So get yourself, I was going to put in the link, go look up The Secret Law of Attraction by Rhonda Byrne. Download it. I see you can download it now and look, because somehow this stuff that you say every year, your life kind of falls apart just when you're getting it together. Unless you get past that mindset, unless you get past that, what you're attracting, it's not going to change. Yeah, you got to keep moving. Yeah, you got to stay positive. Yeah, you can't get depressed, but you have to realize where the source is. Okay, on that. So those are my words on you, my tips for you for today. I'm going to tell a funny story.
Please.
That happened to me Tuesday. So I was in the thrift store and I needed to look for some workout tops and pants and stuff and everything. I love this. Tuesday is senior day and everything's 50% off and everything. So I go over to where this gentleman is standing at the women's blouses for working out in my size. And he's looking through and he's got this chartreuse screen. Anybody know what that is? I know Suzanne does. So it's like a yellow green light on a hanger, and he's got it tucked under his arm, and he's taking that blouse. That's the color I need. Okay. So I'm walking by and I'm waiting for him to move because I don't want to go, social distance, stand next to him. He finally moves out of that section and he goes over to look for pants, and his wife comes over and he's holding it up, and it's almost like he's measuring it for somebody else though. And he's talking to her about it, and he's decided he's going to keep that blouse. So I'm now moved over to the section and I can see him 1 or 2 rows over, and I'm starting to say, you don't want that blouse. You don't need that blouse. You need to put that blouse back. Just like in the first episode of Star Wars, where Obi-Wan Kenobi is going, these are not the droids you're looking for to the stormtroopers. Yeah, you can move along. You can move along. And Luke is blown away. How did you do that? With a weak-minded. So I said, I'm going to make you put this blouse back. And I just kept focusing to myself, and I walked around and I would look at him, and son of a gun, he still had it tucked under his arm. This went on for like about 5 minutes. Do you know he went and put the blouse back?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it was a 3X, so it's not that my size. But the point was, I got you to put the blouse back. I just kept putting out that energy and that thought, and this is what you're going to do. And he eventually put it back. But you would have thought it was his prized possession because he wasn't holding it. It was tucked under his arm. So anyway, I just wanted to share that story because it's like, whoa, I should just experiment with this more. Yeah. Stephen, you will get another car. It might be better than the one you have. There will be another door that will open. And then narcolepsy can go away. So I just, encourage you to get that law of attraction and break this pattern that has ingratiated itself into your life while you keep putting your feet on the floor. I thought Glenn was going to say what Rhonda Byrne says when she gets up in the morning from law of attraction. Thank you. Each foot, each step. Thank you. Thank you is what she recommends doing. So go for it, my friend, and attract positive. I'm only going to attract the positive. Good things are always happening to me. What was it, though? I wrote down that our famous friend by the name of, who will remain nameless, Glenn Henderson, said, and I read this, Glenn, every day when I do my savers. Oh, where are my savers? Where are my savers in my book real quick? He said, I am protected by God who is working out all things for my good, and my success is inevitable. I got that from our friend, Glenn Henderson. Remember saying that, Glenn?
Well, not exactly, but it sounds like me.
I wrote it down. I didn't write the date, but it was one of those. I don't remember if you were leading the group or you were just commenting that day. I am protected by God who is working out all things for my good, and my success is inevitable.
Yes, I did say that. Thank you.
There you go.
You did.
Isn't it great to be reminded of what you said? I hear it all the time. That's awesome. Thank you, Virginia. Thank you, everyone. Great session here today. Let's go ahead and wrap up. We don't have anything else on the calendar today except Hospitality Suite. If anybody wants to tune in, you can use that room. It is yours to use. Also, we'll be back here tomorrow with Fun Friday. So bring a joke or a dog or a cat or something, and we will get together then. In the meantime, just know that I love you guys. And yes, the past does not equal the future. I will see you all back here.